Welcome to our next video in our video series of how to tune a piano. This specific video is going to be demonstrating and showing and talking about some of the different electronic tuning devices, which are a helpful tool to use, especially when you're starting out as a new tuner, or just doing it for the first time. It's a good way to not only judge, if you're doing how you're doing as far as getting close to where you should be, but it's a good way to help you get to piano in tune while you're working on your hammer technique and setting the pin and some of those other skills that you need to be able to tune the piano. The first one I'm going to show you, there are a number of different electronic tuning devices and softwares that you can get. We're going to start with the least expensive. This is a Shareware version of TuneLab that you're seeing in front of your screen right now. What this is it's a Shareware version that you can download for free. If you want to pay for a registration, I think it's about $34 roughly, and you can get that. And what that does is that eliminates it registers you, but then it eliminates 3 windows that pop up when you go to close the program. So it doesn't really necessarily change your functionality of the program. It just makes it a little more convenient when you register it. But it's a fairly inexpensive way. It doesn't do nearly as much as the more expensive electronic tuning devices or softwares or applications that are available, but it is a way to get something and get you started and try your hand at tuning. So I'm going to just go over some of the basic, what an electronic tuning device is, or software, is something that actually listens to the note of a piano, and it has a spectrum and something that will tell you whether you're sharp or flat of where you need to be, and so that as you adjust the tuning pin, it will it'll tell you when you're on or close, or where you need to adjust the pitch to be where it should be. Most good modern tuning electronic tuning devices will actually measure the inharmonicity in that particular piano, because that varies from one piano to another, and that will determine how much stretch. What stretch is if you've got your middle octave basically even tempered, and then as you go up on the keyboard or to the right, or up in pitch, then you're going to stretch those octaves higher than pure. As you go down, you're going to stretch the octaves down, okay, which means you're going to bring the pitch lower than if it was just a pure octave. We're not going to get a lot into the theory and everything of piano tuning in this video series. We may in the future, but that's just the basics of what electronic tuning device does. So what we're going to be doing is showing you how this works. Here we've got, you can see it's set on A4, which is the A above middle C. Okay, and as you can see, I'm going to play that A. And you can see right here there's a peak that pops up, okay, and then up here this spectrum, if those black bars are going to the left, then that means the pitch is a little bit flat, and you can see this particular note, and I've got all three strings going, so and they're fairly in tune with each other, so okay, now if I go down to the G sharp, you can see that's about the same amount flat. Okay, now I've got the set so that you notice the note here changes when I play a different note, and that's because it listens. Okay, because I've got this setting right up here. It says auto note switching either direction, and so if I were to go up, okay, it's going to change the note for me automatically, and you can turn that on or off, or you can do it so that it'll just go up or down. with another button here. If you want to do overpull, okay, or a pitch raise, what's called a pitch raise, okay, you can use this function. And what that does is, and if it's more than 5 to 10 cents sharp or flat, most of the time it's going to be flat, but if it's 5 or 10 cents sharp or flat, you're going to want to do an overpull or pitch raise, okay, which we show in one of our other videos. But this function, and this is available in most electronic tuning device software. You set usually the bass. You don't want to overpull it by as much, but you can adjust how much or how little you want to overpull. Okay, so you'd indicate where your bass bridge ends, which is this section of notes over here where you see a difference in the strings, and we'll go over that in a little bit. But you put what the highest note is on the bass bridge, and then usually 5 cents is the default for that, and then overall everywhere else it says 25 cents or 25%, I should say. Well, this will show you how much how many cents you want it to go, the maximums, because you don't want it to go like if it's 200 cents flat, you're not going to want to pull it up 50 cents over where the where it should be. So that's just the maximum overpull. And then the overpull percentage, the default is 25%, which is generally. So, for example, if a note is 20 cents flat, 25% of that would be 5 cents. Okay, and just so you know what cents are if you go from a half step, or from, like, say, an E to an F, or a D sharp to an E, just from one note to the next, a half step, that's 100 cents. Okay, so if it's 100 cents flat, that means instead of playing a C, you're hearing a B. But for example, if a note is 20 cents flat, it would bring it up 5 cents above the pitch that it wants to end at. Okay, and the reason for that is, as you go through to do a pitch raise, as you pull the other notes up, that's going to pull down the notes that you've already tuned. Okay, so again, basic overview of that. So that's the overpull. And then this is how these buttons up here are how you switch the notes. Okay, and you can do it with the arrows on your keyboard, but this will take it up one, or you can do a whole octave up or down. But in most cases, once you've got the note set where you want it at, you're just going to use the auto switch by playing the note that you want. Okay, now the auto note switch will only go, I think it's within a minor third. So see, we're at an E5 here. I can go to C sharp 5, okay, but from C sharp 5, I couldn't go down a major third. Okay, so that's too far, but I can go down a minor third. All right, so that's as far as the auto note switching will go. But most of the time, we're just going up or down by half steps. So we're going to take it back to A4. So that's basically how it works. And as you go through and do the adjustments, this version of TuneLab is limiting, is in that it doesn't tell you exactly how many cents sharp or flat you are when you play the note, but it kind of gives you an idea of when it's on the red line, when the peak's on the red line and these black boxes stop moving, then you're where you should be. Okay, so it does a basic job, but again, the other more expensive versions will give you a more accurate results. But starting out, if you can only afford the free version, it's better than nothing. So feel free to try it out. Their website is TuneLab-world.com, and we've got a link on the screen in front of you to get you to that point. Now, there are other types of electronic tuning devices, like I mentioned. The one you're seeing in front of you here is also TuneLab, but it's the version that's made for iPad, iPhone. Here you've got a regular iPad 2, I think it is, that we've got it on. But Some of the others I'll mention briefly, just so you know that they're out there. There's one called Vera Tuner. That one I haven't used, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. That one that's a software you can purchase. There's also Reyburn Tuner. And then Accu-Tuner, which Accu-Tuner is a standalone device. It's not a software, but it's an actual device that you purchase. That's an electronic tuning device. So most of the others are software that you can, or apps that you can install on either a laptop computer or a smartphone, iPhone, or a tablet, that kind of thing. So the tablets and phones are nice to be able to use because they're a little more portable than a laptop. But you know, you also get smaller screen. You know, I like the tablet, or like the tablet, like an iPad or something like that, because it's got a big enough screen, but it's also small enough to be portable that I can just put it in my tool case. So most of the demonstration I'm going to be showing here while we go through the tuning is going to be using this iPad version of TuneLab. And as we can see here, we've got it on A4. The same thing here, I've got it set up to auto switch, that it'll go in here. It even says auto both. That means it'll go up or down based on the note that I'm playing. So here we've got A4. We'll go down to G. And again, it won't go either up or down more than a minor third. So we'll go back to A4. Now over here, it'll tell you about how many cents flat that it is, or sharp. But if it says minus, then it's flat. Okay, and those cents, as you can see, it was jumping around, so it doesn't show it real precisely, but again, you can see more precisely with the peak. The red line in the middle shows you where you want the pitch to be. The green line on either side is arranged just a little bit beyond either sharp or flat. So when you're doing a pitch raise, you want to pull that pitch at least as close to that red line as you can. You know, you want it definitely between the green lines, but as close to that red line as you can when you're doing a pitch raise or over pull tuning. Now, what I'm going to show you next is how to do a custom stretch or custom tuning for the tuning. So what we're going to do, we're going to go up here to Files, and we're going to do a new tuning. Okay, and I've got it set up to measure all the C1 through C6. So C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, and C6. And by measuring those 6 notes, that'll kind of give the software, the app, the ability to calculate a custom stretch for this particular piano. And then what I do is I save that, so the next time that I come back to tune this piano, the particular piano, I've got it saved by the customer's name and the make and model and of the piano that I'm tuning. So I save that, and that way next time I don't have to do a calculation. So what I'm going to do is it starts with C1. I come down here. This is the measure button. Okay, and you can see that it said listening over if you're watching, and that means it's the iPad was listening to that note to calculate different things, and we'll go into all the details of what that is, but that's what it does. Then when we go up to the next C, we want to mute, and what I did was I put a mute right here so that only one of the strings was vibrating. So then what I do is click Save for C1. And then C2 will pop up on the screen. I have to hit the measure button. And then I'll calculate. Then we'll go to C3. Again, I'll mute off so that only one string is vibrating. Click Save on C2 and then measure. all the way up. We're on to C4. Go to C5. And then we'll go to C6. Again, I'm muting off just so there's just one string per note. Okay. So we've got our measuring done. Then what we'll do is down here, this checks our tuning curve. Okay. Now right here it shows 4-1-6-3. That means the treble section basically is measuring a 4-1 octave. I'm not going to go into the details of what that means right now, but that shows a 4-1 octave. The 6-3 on the bottom shows that it's the bass is measuring by a 6-3 octave. Okay. Now sometimes based on the piano, I'll change that to be like, say, an 8-4 octave, just depending on what kind of piano I'm tuning and what I think is going to be best, which you'll get. But 6-3, is a good spot to start with. 4-1 and 6-3 is a good place to start. As you get more advanced, you'll figure out you'll find out how to make those adjustments, which is beyond the scope of this particular video series. So once you do that, you can go ahead and save the current tuning as, and that's where you save it under whatever file name you want for that particular piano. You can call it, my Kawai 503M, which is what this is, or the name of the customer, or however you want to save it. So we'll do that. Now, when you to change the note on the iPad, if you tap in the white space up here, either above or below the spectrum, you're going to move it either one octave higher. Okay. Or if you click down here where these lines are, you can just change it by note. Okay, so C, C sharp, D, and again you've also got the the auto change. Okay, and again, most of the time you're going to be using auto change because to have to take time to tap on the screen is just extra wasted space. Okay, now when you, I'm going to go here to A4, and what I'm going to do is mute. What I did was put mutes in so that just the center string is being heard. Okay, now using the TuneLab, I'm going to put my tuning hammer on the middle, the pin for the middle string. Okay, and you can see I'm gonna go ahead and pull the pitch up a little bit. And you want to get it to where these black bars stop moving, and your peak in the middle is right on that red line. Okay, and over here on the cents, you can see it's kind of fluctuates between 0.0 and 0.1. Okay, so that means it's right on. If it's 0.1 or 0.2 off, that's pretty darn close, and probably close enough for what our purposes are. So that's how to tune. That's how to tune a note with the TuneLab, and we'll go through and you'll do actually have a note for every string with TuneLab or whatever tuning device that you've got. The unisons, which are the other notes for each individual string, once you've tuned one string per note, you have to do by ear. You can't really do that with a tuning device. So that is a skill you have to develop, is to do that by ear. But we've actually, at this point, we've got one string tuned with TuneLab. So that's how to use the tuning device. The next video that we're going to be doing is showing some of the hammer technique and how to manipulate the tuning pins so that you get a nice solid feel. So continue to watch our series and just let us know if you have any questions. Otherwise, our website is howardpianoindustries.com.